It's 11:47 p.m. You're endlessly scrolling through your phone, and you've somehow landed on a video of a guy standing in front of a Miami penthouse, a penthouse he absolutely does not live in. He's yelling about how he turned 10 grand into $500,000 in 18 months by trading options. And you sit there staring at your screen thinking, what if I just had $10,000 to work with? Is that actually possible? Here is the uncomfortable truth that the algorithm refuses to show you. You can turn $10,000 into $500,000. The math is 100% real, but the strategy, it is agonizingly boring. The people who actually build generational wealth aren't making TikToks on yachts. They're sitting in that Toyota Corolla at the Costco gas pump, wearing a 10-year-old jacket, and half the time, they don't even realize they're rich yet. Today, we're going to break down the exact mathematical formula to turn 10K into $500,000. We're going to expose the massive lie Wall Street uses to steal your retirement, and I'll show you why doing absolutely nothing is the ultimate financial cheat code. Let's dismantle the illusion. Getting from $10,000 to $500,000 requires a 50x return. To pull that off, your money needs to double roughly 6 times. The only variable that dictates how long that takes is your annual rate of return. Enter the Rule of 72. It's an old Wall Street shortcut. You take the number 72 divided by your return percentage, and that tells you exactly how many years it takes for your money to double. Let's look at the S&P 500, the index of the 500 largest American companies. Over the last 30 years, it's returned about 10.1% a year, or roughly 7.4% after inflation. If you took $10,000, dropped it into an S&P 500 index fund, and literally lost your password, at a 10% return, you cross $500,000 in year 41. I know what you're screaming at the screen right now. 41 years! I'll be too old to even remember what money is. But stay with me, because 41 years is the do-nothing path. The math drastically changes the second you introduce one tiny habit, because contributions don't just add to your account, they multiply. Let's talk about Venus. She's 28. She lives in Columbus, Ohio. She makes $58,000 a year working in marketing. She drives an older Honda Civic, and her apartment has that cheap beige carpet. Venus isn't rich, but she's sick and tired of feeling broke. So Venus scrapes together $10,000, opens a basic brokerage account, and buys a total stock market index fund. Then she sets up an automatic transfer of $400 a month. That's it. That is her entire life's financial plan. By year 5, she has $44,000, and this is the exact moment where 90% of people quit. She's been saving for half a decade, and she still can't buy a luxury car in cash. She feels like compounding is a scam. But there is a magical window, usually between year 9 and year 11, where the game flips upside down. At year 10, Venus's portfolio earns roughly $9,000 just from compounding interest. Meanwhile, she only contributed $4,800 that year. For the first time in her life, her money worked harder than she did. By year 30, she's sitting on over $760,000. A marketing coordinator from Columbus. The math made her wealthy. So if it's this simple, why doesn't everyone do it? Why is the financial industry a multi-trillion-dollar machine? Because nobody can charge you a commission for doing nothing. There is no premium subscription for patience. Let's talk about the silent killer of wealth: fees. Imagine 2 people. Both have $1 million invested. Both get a 7% return. Person A pays 0.03% in index fund fees. Person B uses a shiny financial advisor and pays a 1% fee. 30 years later, Person A has $7.6 million. Person B has $5.7 million. That 1% fee, which sounds like absolutely nothing on paper, quietly stole $2 million from their retirement. You literally paid a guy $500,000 over your lifetime to underperform a fund you could have bought on your phone while sitting in your pajamas. Even Warren Buffett placed a $1 million bet in 2008 that a boring index fund would beat elite hedge funds over a decade. He destroyed them. The index did 126%. The hedge funds did 36%. Buffett's official advice for when he passes away? Put his wife's money in a low-cost index fund. If you don't believe the math, let me tell you a true story. Ronald Reed was a gas station attendant in Vermont for 25 years, and then a JCPenney janitor for 17 years. He chopped his own flannel coat. He held his flannel coat together with literal safety pins because he didn't want to buy new buttons. His entire town thought he was living in poverty. In 2014, Ronald passed away at 92 years old. His estate was worth $8 million. He didn't own fancy tech startups. He didn't trade crypto. He bought blue-chip, boring stocks. Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. He reinvested the dividends, and for 60 straight years, he refused to sell. Ronald Reed is the ultimate proof that the lazy method isn't a theory, it's reality. Now, let's be brutally honest about the world we live in right now. As of 2026, the S&P 500 is sitting at all-time highs. The CAPE ratio, which measures how expensive stocks are, is hovering around 40. The only other times in human history it was this high were 1929 and 1999, and we all know how those years ended. Economists project that returns over the next decade might be significantly lower. So does the lazy method still work? Yes. But this is where discipline separates the rich from the broke. When the next crash happens, and it will, you will be terrified. The news will tell you the economy is collapsing. You will want to sell your funds and hold cash. Do not do it. If you miss just the 10 best days in the market over 30 years, your returns are cut in half. And 76% of those best days happen directly during a bear market when everyone else is panic selling. You keep buying, especially when it's scary. That is when shares are on sale. Some of you are watching this thinking, I'm 45, I'm too late. You aren't. You just trade time for cash flow. Instead of $200 a month for 30 years, you do $1,000 a month for 15 years. The math doesn't care how old you are. It only cares that you start. Even if it's just $50 a month. $50 a month at 8% over 30 years is $74,000. Future you doesn't care if you started small. Future you only cares that you started at all. We live in a culture that absolutely worships the short game. We worship the noise, the hustle, the 24-hour flex. I'm giving you permission to be the boring one, because the boring one wins. Real wealth, the kind that lets you sleep at night, the kind that changes your family's family, isn't built by being right one big time. It is built by not being wrong over and over for 30 years. Open the account, buy the index fund, automate the transfer, and then aggressively ignore it. Be the guy in the Toyota at the Costco gas pump who knows the secret everyone else missed. Real wealth was never the Lamborghini. Real wealth is freedom. Thank you for watching.